Good morning, Ms. Hassim. Good morning, General.
Morning, Chair.
Ms. Hassim.
Thank you. Morning, General.
Morning.
General, when we left off yesterday, we were dealing with the events of the 6th of December. And specifically, we were dealing with the questioning of Mr. Madlanga. Before we move off from that series of events, after the questioning of Mr. Madlanga on the 6th of December, is it correct that Mr. Madlanga instituted an application in the High Court for the return of goods that were taken from his property?
That is correct, Commissioners.
When did he bring that application?
Mr. Madlanga filed his motion of notice at Pretoria High Court on the 17th of December 2024.
And do you recall what the items were that he included in that application that he said had been taken from his home?
It was basically the demand for the return of his 5 firearms that we had confiscated, as well as 2 iPhones, 1 MacBook, 1 Rolex watch, and another lady's watch.
And why would those items, particularly expensive jewelry, be seized from his home?
I can confirm, Commissioners, that during that search, it was discovered that there were allegations of suspected allegations of contravening of some sections of Firearms Control Act. As a result, then the team confiscated those 5 firearms, and inquiry for further investigation was registered. And also the 5 cell phones were also confiscated from him. The other items, the MacBook, Rolex, and another watch, were not part of the confiscated items.
So you're saying it's not true that those were confiscated?
It's not true, yes.
So what happened with this case?
The inquiry is still under investigation. The inquiry, because it involves us investigating from the registration of the security company to the acquisition of the firearms. So the inquiry is still on, but the case that he had filed at High Court, we did file our answering affidavit, and then the case was scheduled to sit on the 24th of December 24, and indeed it sat, and the judge dismissed the application with cost, citing that it was not an urgent matter. And then after that, then on the same day, Mr. Madlanga communicated with us that he was withdrawing the same application.
Okay, so it was removed from the roll on the 24th for lack of urgency, and then it was later withdrawn entirely.
That's correct, Commissioners.
Okay. And so is there anything further to say about that application before we move off it?
Yes, maybe, Commissioners, to add that before the sitting, or before the matter set on the 24th, I had met with the former Minister of Police, General Cele, who informed me that he had been approached by Mr. Madlanga, informing him that Lieutenant General Sibiya advised him, Madlanga, to submit or to write an affidavit and he also drafted such affidavit on behalf of Mr. Madlanga to open a false case against myself and my members that we had stolen the watches and a MacBook, which then proved that what we saw on the founding affidavit that he had submitted to include these 3 items that were not confiscated. It confirmed that indeed it was true, the information that I got from the former minister.
So you say you met with the former minister. On what day did you meet with him?
It was on the 23rd of December, if I'm not mistaken.
And where did you meet him?
In Pretoria.
And so this was the information that he provided to you?
Yes, that he provided to me, which was corroborating the information that we had seen in the founding affidavit that he had filed before the 23rd, that in the items that he was demanding to be returned, he had included these 3 other items that were not part of what was confiscated by the team. But the affidavit that he was expected now to compile was for him to open a criminal case for the missing of these items, of which then he confirmed to the minister that that was not the case. Those items were not taken by the team, and also he even indicated that he was still wearing the same Rolex watch that he was influenced to claim that it has been stolen.
So the meeting with the minister took place on the 23rd of December. Do you know when the meeting, did the minister tell you when he met with Mr. Madlanga? On what?
No, he did not tell me as to when and where their meeting took place.
Okay, so after the 6th of December operation with the questioning of Mr. Madlanga, there was then a second event, which is your team arriving at his offices on the 18th and 19th of December. We saw this when you first testified before the commission, the video clips of the team arriving at Mr. Madlanga's office. Can you just remind the commission what that was about?
Thank you. Commissioners, as I've indicated that during the operation on the 6th, there were suspicious activities around the control of the firearms. Hence, we seized the 5 firearms that were present that day. We had to make an arrangement with him for the complete compliance inspection of all his firearms, which was then set and agreed between the team and himself to take place on the 18th of December. But then it did not continue. The team did arrive, but then it did not continue because the responsible person who must be present, the responsible person according to the Act is someone that is appointed by the security company owner to be responsible for the control and management of firearms. So that individual was not available on that day, the 18th. Hence, then the compliance inspection was rescheduled for the following day, the 19th of December. And indeed, the team went back on the 19th, and the compliance inspection then was successfully conducted.
And were firearms seized
Yes.
during this inspection?
Yes, 18 more firearms then were seized for ballistic testing and the furtherance of the investigation of the inquiry that was registered.
Was anything else seized during this operation?
No, on the 19th, it was only these outstanding 18 firearms.
And were those then returned?
Yes, the firearms were returned to Mr. Madlanga on the 27th of December.
And is there anything more to be said about the firearms? When you sent it for ballistic testing, was there anything of import?
Yeah. No, the investigation is still ongoing in terms of ballistic analysis. The cases that will need to compare with the samples from the firearms, or then we allow the IBIS system then to assist us in identifying the links. So that investigation is still ongoing.
Okay, and then we know that from there, what happened next, at least from your involvement, was the arrest of Mr. Madlanga on the 14th of May. Is that right?
It's right. The investigation continued on other cases that the team had identified that were linking Mr. Madlanga. The investigation continued then for the rest of January and up to February, and then around March, April, the team then was ready then to enroll some of those cases, and then there were discussions that took longer than we expected to finalize then the issuance of warrants of arrest.
Discussions with whom?
With the National Prosecuting Authority.
And after those discussions, you finalized the warrant?
We did then get the warrant of arrest.
In May? Only in May?
Only in May, yes.
And then on the arrest on 14 May 2025, that's when you seized the cell phones that became the evidence of the chats that we've led before this commission. Is that right?
That is correct, Commissioner.
The WhatsApp chats, yeah. Thank you. General Khumalo, can we then turn now to part C of your statement?
Advocate Azim, before you turn to part C, I just want to deal with the chronology up to the end of December. I understood from evidence led by other witnesses, presented by other witnesses, that there was an attempt to open a criminal case against you, first in Pretoria and then in Soweto, but both were unsuccessful. Are you aware of that?
Yes, Commissioner, thank you. I'm aware of that. It is linked with the same information that I've provided, an attempt to open the case, the false case, then with regards to the missing watches during the raid. Well, one can say from our side, and also Mr. Madlanga's, was really not a festive period. We were very busy from the 6th of December, one can say up until the 31st of December. So for the whole month, looking at the engagements, investigations and operations and compliance inspections that we were busy with during the month of December. And then on the other side, lots of attempts also from his side to approach the High Court with the interdict and attempt to open those cases against myself and the team. So both sides were very busy during the month of December. Unfortunately or coincidentally, then the month of December ended with the disbandment letter of the very same busy month ended with the disbandment letter on the last day of December.
General, do you know if statements were taken in either the Pretoria police station or the Soweto police station relating to the criminal case that they wanted to bring against you?
One cannot be 100% sure, Commissioner, whether statements were indeed taken, starting with the information from the former minister that there was a draft statement that was provided, but then of which, according to Mr. Madlanga, he did not continue with the plan. But we have since picked up from the WhatsApp chats analysis that we did after May that another institution that was approached with an attempt to register cases is the IPID, where there were communication about them needing a very strong person, a fearless person from IPID who can open the case. So the evidence that we have, there were attempts, but they were struggling with the finalization of that process.
Thank you. Thank you, Advocate Hassan.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so let's turn to Part C then. And we'll begin at paragraph 130. No, we won't. Before we begin with paragraph 134 and 135, which deals with from 7 January onwards and the events that involved you from 7 January. Can we begin with the letter of 31st December? And you will find the letter in the annexure bundle at SDK 24. And it's page 203. Do you have it?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So we've seen this letter several times before in the commission, but we haven't heard you speak about the letter. And what the commission has heard quite a lot about is particularly paragraph 3 of the letter dealing with the disbandment of the PKTT. But I'd like you to start with paragraph 1, the first instruction from the minister. And that is about the filling of posts in the intelligence division. And it's a very specific instruction, and you are the head of crime intelligence, so this would have affected you, right?
Yes. Thank you, Commissioners. Although the letter was not addressed to me as the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, but then two of the issues that are raised in the letter had direct link with my positions of firstly being the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence as well as the project leader of PKTT. Then maybe to steal this moment for a few seconds before then I get to the question by the SC. It is the 31st of December. The letter, we see it circulating on the social media, I think from the afternoon of the 1st, which is the happiest day of the year. Everybody is in a jovial mood. Then from my personal perspective, it was indeed not the Happy New Year's Day, because I had to expect or receive calls from more than 110 people that I thought I am their leader, asking me one and the same question, all of them. Unfortunately, I could not answer any of those people that were asking what's happening, because in normal situation, they will expect any communication affecting them to come via myself or my office. But this time around, this letter just started to trend, and then and also the language used. Most of them were worried about the language used to say, how can we sacrifice and leave our families for 6 to 7 years, and then we are told that we are valueless, and all other words that were there. I'm just touching on that maybe because I have this platform to raise it. No one has asked me as an individual as to how I felt about the letter itself, but I did not feel right. That's why after I realized that I'm not enjoying the 1st of January like everybody else, I think in the afternoon I had to request Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi to bring the team together and try to also him to explain something that he does not understand. The only thing that he could do was to motivate the team and tell the team that they must continue doing what they are there for. The rest then will be dealt with by the National Commissioner. But indeed, commissioners, it was not a Happy New Year's Day because of the letter. Going to the question.
So before you go to my first question, let me just interpose this. Judging by your answer, you were not consulted about the decision to disband the PKTT.
I had never been given an opportunity to brief the ministry. I've never received any complaints or signs of unhappiness. Was never consulted when the letter then was drafted and finalized. It came as a surprise even to myself.
We will come to that aspect of the third instruction, the disbandment of the task team. But for now, on the first instruction, obviously you hadn't been consulted on that either, correct?
And that is correct, commissioners. That is why I should think that the only person, according to me, my view, the only person who can understand the letter is the writer himself. All of us that are reading the letter I've tried to read it more than 10 or maybe 50 times, trying to make sense and understand. But one is failing to understand each and every paragraph, even the words, the choice of words. But going to the first one, because it touches my environment. One had to try and understand as to what might have led to this decision. One can say the only possible reason for now will be during 2024, the division had advertised 2 batches of senior management posts that included provincial heads of crime intelligence, as well as the other section heads at head office level. So on both occasions, as we follow the process, once the Human Resource Management Division of SAPS approves your request for the post that you will want to advertise, they will then indeed advertise the post, and then they will receive applications. They will screen the applications and applicants, and then they will send to you those applications that they see that they meet the requirements. And then they will request you then to make a submission or a proposal for the panel. So on both occasions, or maybe let me start with the first batch. I did it on the first batch of posts. Then the line of communicating that proposal, I'll send it to the immediate supervisor, the Deputy National Commissioner, Crime Detection, for his support of the proposed panel, who will then sign it off and process it further to the Division Human Resource Management for approval in consultation with the National Commission. So my proposal for the panel for the first batch then was not supported by the Deputy National Commissioner. Instead, then he proposed his own panel, of which then he had to do it in consultation with myself. And then I then did not agree with his set of panel, and then there was then that stalemate that now myself, I'm proposing a certain panel, he is proposing another panel, then the Division Human Resource Management is not expecting to receive 2 sets of proposals. They have to get one proposed by myself, supported by immediate supervisor, so as they can approve it in consultation with the National Commission. So the process of filling those posts remained stagnant there. It did not move. And then another request was sent now for another batch of senior management posts. The same process happened. And then it also reached that point of stagnation. One then, as I'm saying, this is my view. In my view then will be, okay, before I get to my view, I had a discussion with the National Commissioner around this issue, of which then I maintained my position that the panel that I've put together is, according to me, as the accounting officer of the division, in terms of all the legal framework that is there governing then the existence of the division, my panel needs to be supported. And then that discussion then did not give the way forward. So the stalemate remained. So it is my view that then maybe the Lieutenant General Spear escalated that stalemate, that situation to the office of the ministry. Hence, then it informed the decision of halting the filling of posts, because the examples that are cited there, posts in provinces, including those of provincial heads of crime intelligence and currently available vacant posts, it refers to the posts that were vacant that were supposed to be filled. That is my view as to why maybe that formed part of this letter.
Okay,
General, isn't there one accounting officer within SAPS who is the National Commissioner? I'm asking because you just referred to yourself as the accounting officer within your division.
Okay. Maybe then, thank you, Commissioner, maybe then is the choice of giving myself the wrong title. It was referring to being responsible for all activities, the performance, the management of the division, instead of being an accounting officer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So you mean to say responsible officer?
Yes.
General, ordinarily, if there's a disagreement between you and your immediate superior about how to proceed on matters, where does it get escalated to for resolution?
Yeah. The situation or the incident or this case, one has checked on all the prescripts and policies. It is maybe then an oversight, maybe because the drafters of the policy had not thought that it might happen in future in the department. So, and we also do not have any decided case. One will just think that because the approval is with the Divisional Commissioner of Human Resource Management, one will presume that in a situation like this, it is the Divisional Commissioner of Human Resource Management in consultation with the National Commissioner who must then take the two proposals and approve one, or they come up with their own, because the final word rests with them, the final decision.
Just, I was distracted and I didn't hear what you just said. The final decision rests with whom?
The Divisional Commissioner, Human Resource Management, in consultation with the National Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. So if that is the case, why was it not then resolved? Maybe take a step back. You said that those two batches remained stagnant. Why was it then not resolved by the Divisional Commissioner, Human Resources, together with the National Commissioner? So why couldn't that stalemate be broken?
Thank you, Commissioners. Also, again, it is my view, because of the timeline, as these unsuccessful processes were continuing, it was towards the end of the year. So hence then I said, it is my view that maybe then my immediate supervisor escalated the matter to the ministry. Hence, it possibly informed decision or directive number 1 of the letter.
Thank you.
May I still on the topic? And before this letter of the 31st of December, were you informed or did you ever come to know that there was a difficulty or a problem about the filling of these vacancies? Were you ever told that?
Thank you, Commissioner. One was aware because after we understand the process that after you have submitted your proposal, after some weeks, then you expect then the approval of the panel. Now, hence I indicated that there was a first batch of posts. Now, the second batch is now advertised before even the first batch of posts is dealt with. So that was showing that there is a bottleneck. And then this second batch came in and joined the first batch, and then they both remained stagnant. Towards the end of the year, we had still not received the approval. Hence, then I formed that view on this directive.
But more specifically, were you ever informed that the minister has a difficulty with the filling of these posts that you were wanting to fill? Were you ever informed of that?
Not at all. I was not informed. Hence, commissioners, I'm drawing inference, and I say it's my view. The only level that I was aware that it is informed of the situation is up to the National Commissioner's Office.
As matters stand, you don't know why the minister gave this instruction.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sim.
Thank you, Commissioner. So you were not consulted, but you were also not informed.
Yeah.
Were these posts then subsequently advertised and filled at any point?
Not yet.
So they remain vacant.
They remain vacant. Also in the directive or the letter that those posts, they include provincial heads of crime intelligence that are currently vacant, which are, as we have 9 provinces, the vacant provincial heads posts are not less than 4. So between 4 and 5, one can confirm that. So if you have no leadership in close to 50% of your environment in the country, indeed, then you have a problem.
Thanks. Is there anything else you want to say regarding the first instruction on the posts?
No, I've said it all.
Okay. So the second instruction concerns ports of entry. And it's specifically a request that a new plan must be developed. Can you comment on this paragraph?
Yes, thank you, commissioners. At first glance, looking at the heading of the letter, a directive on matters relating to crime intelligence, yes, you bring it closer home. And then the second one, ports of entry, you become a little bit confused because it is the responsibility of the division, visible policing and operations. And then going to the third part, it talks to the political killings task team. So reading the heading, was then confusing a bit, because one will expect that when you draft a letter, the heading helps you to understand the content of the letter and the logic, so as then you are able to understand. But then this part, the inclusion of ports of entry, and of which I think it's the one that is more tabulated or explained in the letter, then one has had to go through it and try to understand. The directive is clear that it talks to the review as well as the review of the deployments in that particular environment, as well as the operational plans to deal with the threats that are being addressed at the point of entry. But it's worth mentioning that as a division, that is also part of the deployment in the ports of entry, as well as having a plan that we are implementing. One can safely indicate that we are happy with our current setup and also the plan itself. And we have seen a lot of improvement in that space when it comes to cross-border drug trafficking, more especially the cooperation that we have within SADC, as well as through Interpol and other country-to-country agreements with identified countries that we are working on drug trafficking. One can say, as a division, we do not see the need to review our plan in that space, because it is still effective. But then as and when the time comes for that review process now for the whole of SAPS, we will be part, and then, but we won't change our plan that is working. Instead, we'll try to improve on it. That is what one can tell or comment on the second part of the directive.
General, you would agree with the minister when he's the former minister when he says that the efficiency of the plan should be reviewed from time to time. Would you agree with that?
I'll agree, because in that environment, it's not the space that is dealt with by just in the space of a port of entry. So I'll agree on that reason.
And do those reviews take place by an interdepartmental body?
Looking at the directive, it was talking to those reviews taking place at the beginning of the year, but one has not been appraised or invited or informed of the reviews then that they had started.
I'm just saying, as a matter of course, those reviews would take place by the interdepartmental, some structure. Is that what would normally happen?
What normally happens, it's not like review or interdepartmental review. all the departments that are occupying the space, they have clear defined roles, which needs then to be coordinated in terms of activities, as it's stated in that paragraph, that the main stakeholder now in that space is the newly established Border Management Authority that is supposed to be leading even the interdepartmental review. Although all of us, we are playing our roles, but then that is the BMA that is expected under normal circumstances to coordinate the activities, including maybe the need to review.
And were you aware of any challenges that needed to be addressed from an SAPS perspective?
No, hence I limited, commissioners, my comment on our environment, because as stakeholders, we also have our role and responsibility, and we have the deployment in the space, and we are operating. So as the division, we are implementing our plan, we are monitoring our activities, and up until now, we were still satisfied with our plan that is in place, as well as our performance.
Thank you. One of the instructions in that paragraph 2 is that in the development of a new plan that the former minister was requesting, he said it should include a comprehensive operational and remedial action plan based on a policy of rotation of staff members, among others, which suggests that there might have been an issue regarding the rotation of staff members. Are you aware of this?
Thank you, commissioners. I am aware, because because of my previous deployments. As I introduced myself, I referred to myself as an all-rounder or a complete police officer who has been everywhere within SAPS. I spent a lot of years within the division Visible Policing and Operations. By then, it was separated. I was within the Operational Response Services, where I was coordinating operations, and the deployment in the ports of entry was a part of our responsibility as a division. So this was something that in other ports of entry, we have the rotation, the month-to-month deployment, so as then we avoid weaknesses that are coming along with a person who's permanently in the border environment. Then so there will always be discussions. Now I'm referring to my previous life. Hence, then I want to be clear that there will be those discussions that the same needs then to happen at all other ports of entry, so as then we avoid the challenges that are related to integrity issues when you have a permanent deployment.
Okay. But as you understood it as at 31st December 2024, you weren't aware of challenges in this regard?
No, I'm not aware.
You weren't informed of any of these challenges?
No, commissioners.
Okay. So anything else you wish to say on paragraph 2?
No, that is
okay. So we can go to paragraph 3 then, which is the heading Political Killings Task Team. And I want to first confirm that you have been involved with the PKTT from its inception. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And when was that from?
From July 2018.
From July 2018.
Yeah.
And in this letter, the former minister refers to the formation of an interministerial task force. And you confirm that the PKTT was that interministerial task force.
As I indicated, commissioners, that the terms and choice of words sometimes used in the letter, they are confusing, and sometimes they talk to maybe not from a well-informed part, because we do not have a task force. We don't use that language in whatever processes and activities with regard to PKTT. But we do have the interministerial committee that we have referred to it in most of the time, even during this commission.
General, there are witnesses who have referred to the National Task Team, referring to the PKTT.
Yeah.
Would that characterization be correct?
Thank you, Commissioner. The choice of adding N at the beginning again will be maybe an individual choice. Why I say so? Because from us that started the whole thing, our understanding is within SAPS there are lots of task teams within SAPS. A district commissioner might decide to establish his district task team for a specific purpose, the same as the provincial commissioner, the same as the national commissioner. That is then the task team. And then the political killings task team was established by the National Commission, the political killings task team. Now, the choice of using N might come when then we talk of an interdepartmental, because on my previous testimony, I tried my best to explain the route that we took to get to where we are. To say when we moved from SAPS only task team to interdepartmental, that's when then the national departments came in. So the choice of using N, of adding N, might come if then you want to understand that interdepartmental part of the PKTT.
So, Commissioner, it was a national task team in the sense that it was set up at by the national executive. Would that be right to describe it in that way?
Yes, it can be. It can be right.
And okay, so it was established by the national executive, and it was funded from the national budget, not from the provincial budget. Is that right?
Yes, it was established by the National Commissioner. There is an N there of National Commissioner. It's funded from the national budget. There is an N there. Then the part that I was explaining was the one that talks to it now being guided and overseen at national level, starting with the interministerial to the directors general of the national departments. So hence then I say the choice of adding N, unless if it's meant to confuse, but if it is meant to explain, one can explain it like that.
Thank you.
So national task team is not descriptive enough, especially if you say there are several task teams at various levels. So national task team could be any national task team. So that's not descriptive enough, whereas PKTT is descriptive.
Yeah, as we speak now, according to my limited information, we have 2 more national task teams that are running in the northern part of KZN, as well as one in the Western Cape.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, Chair. So then to go back to what you were just saying, the Interministerial Committee that you say had this overall view on the work of the task team, is that right?
That's correct, Commissioner.
Chair, we've been able to obtain the minutes of the Interministerial Committee and to have them declassified. May I ask leave to submit them formally for the record as an exhibit bundle? And the exhibits number from CJC 8 all the way to CJC 17.
File 1.
File 1 exhibits bundle. And if I could ask the witness and the commissioners to turn to that bundle now. CJC 8, commissioners, is the confirmation of receipt of the request for the declassification. And CJC 9 is the letter from the authority that was required to declassify the minutes, which is the presidency, confirming the declassification and attaching the minutes. So if we could please turn to CJC 10. That's where the minutes begin, and it's at page 4 of that bundle. General Khumalo, that set of minutes is dated 21 May 2018. Do you have it?
Yes, Commissioners.
Is this the first meeting of the Interministerial Committee?
Yes, Commissioners, that is correct. It's the first meeting that was convened after the establishment of the IMC, which took place on the 21st of May 2018.
So, in other words, immediately upon its establishment, a meeting was held.
Yes, Commissioner.
And if you turn to page 5 of the bundle, which is page 2 of the minutes, can you confirm who was in attendance?
Thank you, Commissioners. I can confirm that in attendance was the Minister of Police, Minister Pichele, the Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, Minister N. Mapisangagula, and the Minister of Justice, Constitutional Development and Correctional Services, which has combined by then, Minister T. Masuta, the Minister of State Security, Minister Dilitsatsi Tuba, the Premier of KZN by then, Mr. Premier Mtunu, and the Member of Executive Council of KZN, Mr. Kaunda, who was the MEC of Transport, Community Safety and Liaison.
Just for clarification, do you confirm that the Premier at this time, Premier Mkhunu, is not, it's not, and we don't want to confuse this person with Premier, with former Minister Mkhunu?
Yes, I can confirm that this was Premier Willis, as is normally referred to, Mkhunu.
Thank you.
Not the current Minister of Police.
Ms. Hassan, maybe for correctness, there is the mistake that is repeated of referring to Minister Mkhunu as the former minister. He's not former minister, at least not yet.
I take the correction, Commissioner Baloy. Okay, so these were the, this is what made up, these were the heads of the Interministerial Committee, is that correct?
Yes.
So these departments then and ministries continued to have involvement in the oversight of the PKTT throughout its existence. Would that be correct?
That will be correct, as directed and established by the President.
Thank you. So we don't need to go to it in exhaustive detail, but just so that we can get the main aspects of these minutes. The first serious presentation was a political presentation by the Premier. Is that right? And that's on page 6 of this bundle.
That is correct, Commissioners.
And in that presentation, if we look at the second bullet, the minutes state that a task team was established in 2011 to find the causes of the political killings. What task team was that?
Although one was not part of the meet, was the then provincial task team of the police that was dealing with political related cases. So if the reference here on this second bullet is made towards the now political killings task team, then one will say the Premier meant then the provincial team that was in place by then.
Okay. I should have asked you when we were confirming the attendance, whether you were in attendance at this meeting.
Although there is no, I don't see the attendance list, but I was still not part of the now PKTT in May. I only became part around June when we were then brought in to start compiling the new strategy and the plan that was going to be implemented from July onwards. But why then I say, commissioners, that one would have to rely on the attendance register? It's because it was during the period, one is not having the dates. It was during the period when I was either deployed as a brigadier in the province together with the then acting provincial commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, as he testified, or because as a brigadier, my main responsibility was on national intervention operations. So every time there is an IMC, there is a national intervention that is directed, I will then be expected to be part because it's my line function. Hence, then confirming that I might have been part of this meeting either because I was deployed in KZN or because of my line function at national level. But in terms of being involved in the form of the PKTT now, I was not yet.
No, I accept that. But so are you saying you do not remember whether you were at this meeting?
Yes.
Okay. And that if you were at the meeting, it would have been for whatever your role was. You were not at that point involved in the PKTT.
Yes.
Okay. And you don't remember. That's fine. So the point of the bullet 2 is that there was a provincial task team within SAPS to deal with political related killings.
That's correct.
Okay. So if you turn over the page to page 7, there's then a presentation by Major General Qiliza. And it's entitled Progress Report on Political Related Killings to the Minister of Police. So it would have been Major General Qiliza then who would have been responsible for that provincial task team, is that right?
The minutes suggest that because he's the one who presented the progress report on political related killings to the ministers on that day.
Okay, so if we go then to we see there was a second presentation by Minister Qiliza as well. And we see that on page, I think that was page 7. That was his report. And then there is there's a second presentation on page 11. At item 2.3.1, do you see that?
Yes, Commissioners.
And in that report, there's a list of cases, those that are finalized, those dockets that are ready for trial, et cetera, et cetera. Are those the political related dockets that were being handled by the team at the time, the provincial team?
On the report, on the minutes where these reports were presented, it won't be easy for one to clearly distinguish between the two presentations, because the first presentation by Major General Qiliza refers to an overview of political violence related cases, and then from 2011, 2012, 2016, and then giving the stats and the status of those cases. And again, under 2.3.1, another presentation by Major General Tsidiza again, now with the title matters involving politicians. So it's not easy, especially as I've explained, that I was still not part of the process as to what is the difference between the two presentations on the day.
Okay. So if we go to page 13, we see that there was a discussion following the presentations, and the ministers listed a series of concerns. I'm not going to read through all of these concerns, but would it be correct to say that one of the concerns raised by the ministers was that the political killings in the province was escalating?
That is correct, Commissioner.
And could you just read out the first two bullet points of the decisions on page 14?
On page 14, under the heading Decisions, the meeting resolved that the task team coordinate its work and minimize working in isolation to each other. Then bullet 2, the task team should have purpose, objectives, role and responsibilities, as well as the frequency of meetings, in brackets, terms of reference.
And the third bullet?
On page 15.
On page 15?
The
The first bullet on page 15.
The first bullet on page 15, the task team should develop an investigation and prosecuting strategy that will mitigate all the risk factors associated with the investigation and prosecution, such as...
Pause there, and then there's a list.
Yeah.
Now, this investigation and prosecution strategy, is that the strategy that you began to develop when you became involved in June?
That is correct, Commissioners. It's one of the recommendations that we had to attend to as we came in June.
Okay, thank you. And then if you turn over to page 16, there is a presentation made by the NPA, Advocate S. Abrahams. Do you see that?
Yes, Commissioner.
And then there is a further set of discussion and decisions by the IMC, which is recorded at page 17. Can you just read out for the record the two bullets that contain the discussion and decisions?
The second discussions and decisions on page 17 of the minutes, the first one, ministers expressed similar concerns that NPA is providing statistics which are conflicting the statistics which were presented by SAPS detectives team. And this is attributed to the fact that the task team members are working in isolation, in brackets, no coordination. The second decision, a dedicated team of prosecutors should be part of the task team to guide the investigation team in order to improve the quality of cases put on trial and improve the conviction rate.
Do you have any comment on those decisions?
Thank you, Commissioners. Indeed, the decisions were pointing towards real challenges that that was facing this task team, this provincial task team, the lack of coordination was demonstrated by the fact that within one meeting, there are 3 different task team reports that are presented, which shows that there is no coordination of both activities and accountability, which then one will say the interministerial committee were not wrong in their findings, as well as recommendations as to what needs to be corrected.
Thank you. So then if we go to the next set of minutes, which is CJC 11, the date of this meeting is 12 June 2018. So this is the second meeting, 1 month later, of the IMC.
Yes. Yes, Commissioners.
And were you present at this meeting?
Yes, Commissioners, I was present.
So at this meeting, we see the attendance and adoption of agenda, etc. What I would like to turn to is page 22. And there we see a briefing by the acting KZN Provincial Commissioner. And this was Lieutenant General Nkhunazi, is that correct?
That is correct, Commissioners.
And what was the gist of his presentation or his briefing? It's a lengthy briefing, so I don't want you to go into the detail. But if you recall the gist of it, can you explain to the commissioners?
Thank you, Commissioners. The gist of the presentation by the acting provincial commissioner by then was first the fact that they were the new team was not the new team. The plan to establish the new team had started. So he referred to the number of dockets that had been collected and analyzed already, and also referred to the investigation and prosecution plan on page 25 that had already been provisionally approved by the National Commissioner pending the endorsement by the IMC. That was the most critical issues, and also he reflected on the issue that the strategy and the investigation plan will be given a full budget and resources from national level, and then the team will be restructured. So he was announcing to the IMC, looking at the challenges identified on the first previous meeting. So he was attending to most of them with the plan that was in place as to how all those weaknesses were going to be attended to.
And the conclusion then was the proposal that was made by the National Commissioner at the time, and that's on page 25. So it was the restructuring and a development of this strategy or investigation action plan. If we turn over the page, the last bullet of the proposal by the National Commissioner, which was National Commissioner Sithole at the time, is that the task team will be reinforced by a team of tactical intelligence and strategic intelligence. Why was that necessary?
The National Commissioner was proposing his structure at national level that was going to oversee. Because if we start from the previous page, he's talking of the last bullet on page 25, when the National Commissioner said, as part of monitoring and overseeing the task team, Lieutenant General Libya and Lieutenant General Tsumane, who was the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection by then, will be responsible for that task of overseeing the team. So he was briefing the IMC that the oversight will be at national level. Yes, the team will be operating in the province. Hence, then on the next page 26, the point there, he was stressing because intelligence capability is a national competency. They are not the responsibility of a district, a provincial, or a provincial commissioner. So the National Commissioner was bringing in the then Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence to be part of the overseeing team at national level.
Thank you. So we can then conclude these minutes with reference to the resolutions that were adopted on page 27. There are several aspects of these resolutions that speak to the work of the PKTT going forward. The first I'd like to refer you to is the second bullet, that the investigation strategy and prosecution should have a cost or budget, targets and timeframes. Did that take place? Was that strategy costed and budgeted?
Yes, that is correct, Commissioners.
And was that subject to constant review?
Yes, Commissioners, I'm not.
The second is that the task team is to be restructured and reinforced by additional 13 investigators from other provinces. Did that take place?
It did take place, Commissioners, and the number of investigators kept on increasing as the number of cases allocated to the team were also increasing.
And for the record, you are reading from bullet number 4, Ms. Hasim.
Bullet number 4. Thank you,
you.
Chair. And then bullet number 5 is reads as follows. The revised structure of the task team and the strategy with the budget should be presented, to read it as it is, presented to Minister of Police by 15 June 2018. Was that done?
It was done if we are going to go to the minutes of the next IMC, we'll say that.
It was presented in the next
In the
IMC
next
meeting.
IMC meeting.
Okay. And then the sixth bullet is that as part of monitoring and oversee the task team, General Libya and General Tsumane will be responsible for such task.
Yeah.
Was that, were they responsible, and did that in fact take place?
Yes, indeed. The General Libya was the chairperson of the National Steering Committee, which was made up then of General Jacobs of Crime Intelligence, General Tsumane of the DNC by then of detection, as well as other DDGs from other national government departments like NPA and State Security.
Thank you. So then that would, one more item just to confirm, and that is the third bullet from the bottom, but the last sentence, a dedicated team of prosecutors should be part of the task team to guide the investigation team in order to improve the quality of cases put on trial and improve the conviction rate. Did that take place? Was a dedicated team of prosecutors assigned to the PKTT?
Yes, Commissioners, it did take place as we were progressing with the implementation of the plan.
Thank you.
Sorry, General, in that second bullet point, where it reads investigation strategy and prosecution should have cost, budget targets and time frames. The time frames referred to here, where it says there must be time frames. What are these time frames for? Is it the life of the task team or is it the time frames for targets?
Our interpretation was it's the time frames of the targets because we were presenting the strategy and the plan that will talk to the turnaround time on investigation, turnaround time on prosecution. Hence, then other recommendations moving forward were talking to the issues of dedicated courts, so as then the time frame is not affected.
Can I just get clarity? In the first meeting, we've looked at the minutes. One of the recommendations is that the Department of Correctional Services must form part of the task team. Was that recommendation implemented, as far as you are aware?
As we were presenting the new strategy, it was exactly like that. It was the interdepartmental multidisciplinary task team where SAPS and NPA are playing a leading role, supported by state security, correctional services, and the Department of Justice.
So the task team was not just about investigating political killings. It was also about ensuring that they are successfully prosecuted. And once people are successfully prosecuted, those that are found guilty are incarcerated. And that would be Correctional Services' role.
That is 100% correct, Commissioner. One of the noteworthy contributions of the Department of Correctional Services, excuse me, was to dedicate the Kokstad prison as the PKTT prison, where we will keep our most dangerous prisoners.
Was that in fact the case?
It was, and it's still the case, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. So the third set of minutes then is CJC 12. And it's dated 3 August 2018. So this is the third meeting now of the IMC in 2018. Are you there?
Yes, Commissioners.
Were you present at this meeting?
Yes, I was present.
And it was chaired again by Minister Khumalo at the time.
Yes, that's correct.
The important aspect of this minute is the item 2.2 on page 31. We can begin there. It begins at that point. And is it correct that this was it began with a presentation by the National Commissioner, who confirms that the approach of the task team was changed? The composition was revised and new members were added. That's the third line from the bottom on page 31. Was that the confirmation that was provided by the National Commissioner at the time?
That is correct, Commissioners. If we compare with the previous IMC, where the National Commissioner gave lots of promises of what will be happening because it was the meeting where the investigation and prosecution strategy was presented. And there were then issues that were raised by IMC that like budget and the resources. So the team then was officially on the ground on the from the 18th of July. So this we can say is the first official IMC where they were expecting to get feedback on the performance of the newly established task team from July, because this was August. So indeed, the points that were raised by the National Commissioner were talking to the decisions that were taken on the previous meeting. Hence, the first one is confirming that the task team was changed, reconfigured, and the composition was revised with additional members added on the team.
Thank you. Chair, it's 11 o'clock.
Let us adjourn and resume at 11:15.